Welcome to Dark Horse Auto and Diesel. Today I'm going to show you how to install the probe for a trans temp gauge into a ZF6 manual transmission. So there's a couple different ways you can go about installing one of the probes. I've seen some people, they'll take their drain plug and actually drill through it, tap threads into it, and put the sensor in there. I'm not particularly fond of that idea because now you've just got something hanging down here just asking to get taken out on something. Another method I've seen is people go into their cooler lines here, they'll tap into it, put a T in, and put the sensor there. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that idea. Now my favorite method, and the one that I'm doing today, what we're going to actually do is replace this PTO cover with one that's made out of aluminum and has threads already tapped into it. Here's the plate that I'm going to be installing. Got it from Fabcraft gears. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in buying one of these. The first thing you want to do is make sure you can get your fill plug loose, because if you drain it and you can't refill it, then you're kind of screwed. Although with these you can go up inside the truck and pull the shifter off and fill it up through there. I'm not planning on doing that unless I absolutely have to, so we'll get this broke loose. And all you need for your fill and drain plugs is a 3/8 square drive. Then inspect your O-ring. If it looks like crap, replace it. Now we'll remove the drain plug. Wow. That's good. Son of a... You know, all day long the air's been pretty calm, just maybe a slight breeze every now and then, nothing to worry about. As soon as I pull that f***ing drain plug, nope, 20-mile-an-hour winds. I don't even think I got it all off my phone yet. Yeah, it flung fluid all over the driveway that I just power washed 2 weeks ago, all over my arm, all over the tripod that I just got last night, and this is the first time I've ever used it, all over my phone, all over my face, in my mouth. You know, some days you eat the bear and other days the bear eats you. So once you've spent 45 minutes getting everything cleaned up, now we can finally take our PTO plate off here. And there's going to be these 6 bolts here, and they are 9/16. Now we'll take a scuff pad or some light sandpaper and clean all this up. Now we'll wipe this down real quick, make sure it's clean, and then we'll apply RTV to both sides of our gasket. Now we can install the plate, and if your trans temp sensor has an 1/8" NPT fitting, which like 99% of them do, 100% do as far as I know, you'll put the smaller hole towards the bottom, and there's a plug for this bigger one that we'll put in here in a little bit. Next we'll grab our big plug here for the big hole up here and put some thread sealant on this. I'm going to use this stuff here, good for petroleum products. And this plug takes a 3/8 Allen bit. Then we'll apply some goo to our sensor here, being careful not to get any on the end of it. If you do get a little on the end, it's fine, just wipe it off. And then mine is a 3/4 inch wrench. I imagine most of them are probably the same. Mine's ISPRO. And it's been roughly an hour since we snugged these down, so now we can go ahead and torque these down to 15 to 20 foot-pounds. I'm going to go with a happy medium of 18 because I have a Harbor Freight torque wrench and I don't exactly trust it. We'll do this in a cross pattern. Now technically you're supposed to wait 24 hours before you fill this thing back up with fluid to let the silicone cure. It even says so on the silicone package. I don't always do that. I've never had an issue with putting in fluid shortly after I've done all this, but I'm not in any hurry tonight. I've got some ice cold beers in the fridge calling my name, and I'm not driving this truck until at least tomorrow afternoon, so I'll just let it cure. So before we fill this thing back up, I want to talk to you a little bit about fluid. A drain and refill on these transmissions is supposed to be 5.8 quarts, so we'll call it 6. So as far as brand goes, there's 2 that I would recommend. Either this Mobile One here, the synthetic ATF, meets you know, all the relevant standards, Mercon, blah blah blah. Either this or Redline D4 ATF. Owner's manual calls for Mercon fluid, so should probably stick with something close to that. Now if you don't have one of these little pump gun things like this, I would highly recommend you get one. They're like 10 or 15 bucks at your local parts store, so well worth the money. So to fill this thing up, just grab your hose, stick it in the hole, and start pumping.
Giggity, giggity, giggity. The next day.
Alright, there she is. She's running out. That was right about 5.8 quarts. There's just a little bit left in the bottom of the jug here. Well, I reset the trip meter before I left the house, so I've got about a little over 50 miles on it. And finally getting a reading on it. It took about 35-40 miles before it even started registering anything, and I've been sitting here for about, I don't know, 5 minutes, and it's already cooling down. It got up to about maybe 110. So the ZFs definitely generate a lot less heat than the autos. My other truck, it'd probably be about 160, 170 by now, but it works. You can see I've put about another 25 miles on it since the last clip, and sitting about 128, 127, something like that. I've been cruising at this speed since the last time I was recording. It appears that higher speeds do actually warm the strands up a little bit faster, because prior I was only doing about 60 miles an hour. Well, it seems to have leveled off between about 130 and 140. Don't worry, the speed I'm going is perfectly fine where I'm at. Figured I'd give you all one more look at the transmission temperatures. This time I'm towing a generator. It's probably about 5,000 or 6,000 pounds, give or take. I don't know for sure, but not too bad, but also not nothing. And I'm towing it across southern Michigan, so it's relatively flat. But, you know, at current speed, 70 to 75 miles an hour, I have not seen it get any higher than where it's at right now. And when I've had to slow down a few times to about 60 to 65 for construction zones, it immediately starts cooling down and ends up dropping down to about 130 quite quickly. I guess at the end of the day, it's almost kind of pointless to have a gauge for one of these transmissions, because I feel like it's not, obviously not impossible, but if you overheat one of these ZF6s, I feel like you are probably doing something very stupid and very wrong, and we're actually probably trying to do something bad. You know, unless like the pump gear or something breaks, or you're, you know, something messed up with the cooler. don't think under any normal circumstances you're going to overheat the trans, but you know, like I said, this used to be an automatic truck. I already had the gauge, so might as well make it work.